Bharti here. On behalf of Association for Asian Studies, I'd like to welcome you to the AAS India edition. And to begin, if you could just briefly tell us a little about your background and also like your current research project.
I'm a PhD scholar in Delhi School of Social Work, Delhi University. So regarding my research area, there is two. Like my PhD topic is on gender policies and gender relations of Kerala. While I'm also doing not as part of my PhD, but as an activist initiative or like something which is personal to me, I'm also working on female genital mutilation. I'm a survivor, so I'm working on that. In AAS, I was presenting my autoethnographic account on FGM. So I've been collaborating with organizations which is working on FGM. So I'm like trying to do both at the same time. Kerala government is providing facilities for women who are traveling at night, short stay facilities. So my first step was an analysis of that. So how government policies enable women's mobility, and I had my pilot study. So now I need to try to understand what are the dynamics within that, and how can I get to know it better and the dynamics inside that. So I need to develop tools to get a deeper understanding of the topic. It's about my personal experience, and it's really interesting how I got to know that I'm a survivor. So I was during my graduation, I was preparing for my state exams, sociology, and I was writing a note on violence against women, which is happening across the world. So I came across this WHO page where they're talking about FGM, and I called my mom and said, "Mom, this happens in Africa," and she was like, "Africa? It happened with you, me, and every other woman in the family." So then it was a shock for me, and that's how in Kerala, as differentiated from African context or Dawoodi Bohra context, FGM happens when you're 40 days old. So the survivors won't usually realize that they are a survivor because we don't have a memory of it happen. So I go to know in a fluke, and then I tried to call up all the relatives in my family, and they were all like, unmarried women are not supposed to talk about it. You are not supposed to talk about your body and sexuality. Then I started reading upon it, and when I was doing my master's in this, in a conference on FGM, I came across Sahio, which is an organization working on FGM. Then from masters onward, I started collaborating with Sahio and another organization, Equality Now. These two organizations are working on FGM. That's how my research interest and my activism on FGM happened. And apart from FGM, apart from body sexuality, I'm also interested in women's mobility. I'm a daughter of a single mother, and I'm the first girl child from my family who could go out and study, and it's never easy. Like the auto wala, the police people, everyone have a problem with us traveling at night. They'll be like, "What are you doing outside at this particular time?" Or they have issues with me going to field work or traveling at night, and everything they have an issue about. So mobility is something which is also very personal to me. Mobility and access to public spaces, it's very personal to me because it's never so easy across India, not just in rural, urban. I guess it's across India, and we get a sense of freedom when we are not from that particular place. If I'm in a different city, it's okay, but all of my friends, when we go to our hometown, mobility have huge restrictions. So that's how I got interested in the state policies of how to, like, policies which enable women to access public spaces and enable women's mobility. And I guess in masters, I came across Neela Kabir's gender relations framework, and that's how it fascinated me. Okay, state policies have the potential to make transformative changes in the gender relations. more access to the stories since I am from the community. Sahyu and Equality now have tried to work with the community before. I'm not saying that I'm being able to work in a larger scale or anything, but I get access to stories easier than people who are outside of the community. One is that. Another is I am less threatening than someone from outside. If someone from outside is coming, the community members have to be worried about the agenda because it's such vulnerable times and they are right to be worried about. So there is a lot of political dynamics within it. So I guess since I'm from the community, I have more access and I'll get more trust. And there is a possibility of conversation for me to have in the community than someone outside the community. After being in AAS conference, what I understood is the basic gender dynamics is still the same everywhere. It's just manifest in different ways. For example, if we are talking about communities' ways of controlling women's sexuality, if gym is a way, then the virginity test of Kanjabat community is in another way, and it happens in Africa, it's happened in Mali, and the way we are supposed to dress, our mobility, like everything is sometimes food. Even widows are not allowed to have certain type of food across the world, across community. There are certain ways to control women's sexuality and mobility, and it just manifests in different ways, but the core is the same. And I don't think that gender relations are very different in other parts of the world, and we may have to start our fights in a different level in different places, but we still have to keep fighting on it. My family, like many of my extended families, thinks that PhD and all is too much, and I should have been got married like way earlier. So there is a huge pressure from that, and there is slut shaming, and all those things happens in one place. And when you start talking about sexuality and gender and all, your feminazi tag and all those things, the opposition from the community and all those things are there. And the another thing is it's we have to tread very carefully, as in we are living in a context where there is a huge attack on my community itself, and when I'm fighting against the things which is happening in the community, it doesn't mean that I'm not fighting the attack on my community. So I should not be giving the tool to the other right-wing forces to do this. So we need to keep the balance to fight both of it and be there and not be there. So it's a very tricky way, like where to talk, how to talk, when to respond, and who are we talking about these issues. It's a very tricky thing to be in. I think especially in my research context, in the case of gender, starting conversations, having conversation within the community, and making sure that voices are coming from the community, not someone from outside is coming here and telling you what to do, or rather the outside people can be facilitators and the community members should be talking about it, so that won't be an attack or ostracization of the community itself. The voices of change should be coming from within the community. That's what I believe. And of course we need external power, because we need resources, we need knowledge, we need sensitization, and all those things should be there. The external forces can be facilitators, not the lead voice in that. I have been to workshops, like 10-day classes, courses and all. One was on work and women. And then I continues to be in part of Sahyo's initiatives and classes. These are the only two I have been to. I am still yet to explore more courses, and of course after coming to AAS only I realized that even though we things are far apart geographically, there is a huge relation and dynamics and like trend we can understand from different places. AAS was my first exposure to see what all we have in common, and we're all there is difference and that how the dynamics are. So I'm meant to explore that.
Thank you so much. You too. All the very best with your projects. Take care.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.